Hi guys, it's Lori. How you doing? Are you feeling a little down? Are you feeling the heaviness? I know we've been talking about the shift a lot, how the energy has changed. People are changing. Have you noticed that? People that you thought were one way have revealed themselves to be another. And in many of my clients' experience, in my experience, it's not necessarily in a good way. Um, in fact, I haven't found anybody that I thought was a jerk turned out to be a real good person. It's been the opposite. And some people that I've known for a very, very long time, it's like, wait, you're not who I thought you were. Have you felt that way? Or have you felt a terrible heaviness? I mean, I know this shift is going on. We've talked about the physical symptoms, we've talked about the headaches, the fatigue, soul wounds coming to the surface. That's happening a lot. You know, some people know what's going on, they're aware enough to know what's happening. Some people are sleeping. But I found that the people that are striving to be closer to God, the people that are truly working, caring about being good to other people, they truly care about that. Um, the people that have a heart, the people that care about others than, other people, not just themselves, not just their own families, are struggling. I myself have experienced some heaviness, I've had all the physical symptoms that people are talking about. Massive fatigue. My headaches have gotten extremely worse. There are masses and tumors showing up, not just in myself, but in others as well. Illness and symptoms that cannot be explained by doctors. This is going on everywhere. So, I want to tell you about something that I got today in prayer. God shared with me, and I want to share it with you. It seems to make a lot of sense. So if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling tired, heavy, a heaviness, a darkness, if you feel like you just can't get out of your own way, stay tuned. Let's talk about this. Maybe I can help. Hi guys, I'm back. Okay, so here we go. I've been having some experiences lately, as I know many of you have, and it's not just physical symptoms. It's everything's been attacking me, from my car to the way people treat me, to my finances, to my health, and it's bizarre things, to crazy decisions in courtrooms, to I can't even explain everything. It, it's an absolute mess. But anyway, I know I'm not alone. I know that many of my clients have been experiencing things. Now, I can honestly tell you that each thing that I'm talking about in my life personally is outside of my control. Okay? Um, it's not, sometimes negative things happen because, it's a consequence to our own decisions or choices, and we got to deal with that. I mean, that's part of life. You make a poor choice, you deal with the consequences. You make a good choice, you deal with the consequences. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the shift, the energy, the way people are. Have you noticed that people are different? That kind of stuff, right? And I know we've talked about this in other videos. We've talked about the ringing in the ears, the fatigue, on and on and on. So today, I'm in prayer, and I got to tell you that I don't do anything, I don't make any decisions, I don't move forward at all and without praying about it. And some people may look at that and say, well, you're completely dependent on God. That's a bad thing. Actually, that's a really good thing. I too, at one time, would have believed it was a bad thing, would have believed I was in chains. But let me tell you, until you can come to know that you don't have any control, that God's in control, and you seek His wisdom before you make any decisions, until you can do that, you are living in chains, chains of this world, chains of bondage. Anyway, that's a whole other video, but so I do nothing without prayer. And today, I got to tell you, I was crying out to God, and I was saying, okay, not just myself, but I see other people dealing with these things where maybe somebody's hurt them so deeply that they're having a hard time moving forward. Maybe the heaviness of the energy is affecting them so deeply because they're sensitive and they can feel more than others. Or maybe somebody's awakening and they can feel so strongly what's going on. Or betrayal is at its highest. Um, abuse is, I swear, this is not just, I know the world has always had negative energy, but recently it's as if the negative's winning. That's what it feels like. I know I'm not alone in feeling this way. Other people have came to me and said, why does it seem that the negative's winning? Now I can tell you other areas in my life, other times in my life, 10, 15 years ago, where it felt like evil was winning, but it didn't feel like that everywhere. It felt like it was happening to me. It felt like it was happening to some others. I know we've all gone through times where life is completely unfair, but now it seems like it's happening everywhere. So I was talking to God about it. And, I was asking him now, again, he's under no obligation to explain, to answer why. So I've given up on whys a long time ago. But I was like, Lord, please show me something. So he did in several different ways. He showed me to take my power back. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a couple ways to take your power back. Now, what he told me is now, because of all the things that have been happening, my soul wounds have surfaced, and it's as if the scabs were ripped off. Those band-aids were ripped off and pulled the scabs right off, and now they're open, oozing, bleeding. It's like an open wound that probably needs stitches, that or staples or whatever, surgery even, whatever. I mean, it's that bad. I feel that exposed. Now, of course, I got to continue to work, and what I do for work, I have to truly cover my own wounds to help others in their healing process. And I know you people have to work too, yet, or you have to raise families, or you have to do whatever you have to do. So, but when those soul wounds hit, like I've explained before, not only are we feeling them more, but that vibration calls more of the same that will agree with the soul wound to make you believe, hey, that's got to be the truth. I'm not worthy. Hey, that's got to be the truth. Nobody cares. Hey, that's got to be the truth. Everybody abandons me. And this is what's been happening not only to myself, but to a lot of people. So, and it's craziness. When that happens, you can fall into a deep, deep darkness. Okay. So, and then, okay, so I'm telling him, God, I'm aware of this stuff. Being aware of it is a good portion of the battle. I mean, at least you're aware of it. Okay, this is a soul wound and I'm calling this stuff to myself. So one thing that you can do, like I've told you before in other videos, is take every negative thought captive. And how do you do that? You become aware. So when you're aware, you catch it immediately. Oh, having a negative thought, and replace it with a positive one. Now, sometimes you can be feeling so down that you are aware and you catch it and you go, oh Lord, I don't have a positive one right now. He'll give you one. That's the beauty of him, is he's our comfort, he's our anchor. And when we can't do it, he'll do it. So if you can't do it, he'll do it. Ask him. Trust me on this. Try it. I'm telling you, he'll do it. It may not happen immediately, but keep on trusting, okay? So he reminded me of a couple different things. And the biggest thing he said was, hey, take your power back. And then, I don't just pray for me. I pray for all the people that I talk to every day, and sometimes special prayer requests, but my prayer list is very long and he knows. And one thing that he told me is some people are still stuck in their ego, and you may not think you are. You may think that you are an absolutely spiritual person. You've detached from a lot of material things, but you're stuck in your ego. And one way that you can tell this is, do you think you can control things? Do you think that spiritually we're all connected? We are all connected. I don't mean to say it like that, but that you are equal. I don't mean to say that you're nothing, but we have to remember who he is and who we are in relation to him. And that's not a bad thing. Some people in the New Age world will say, well, that's a bad thing to put him higher than yourself. First of all, it's the truth. Secondly, and it's a lie if you fall into the we're all, equal, he's equal, we're all him. We are made in his image. Absolutely correct. But we are not him. If we were him, we would be there. I mean, he is 100% pure and holy and just and makes the right decisions, even if we can't see them, even if things seem unfair here. So, and we're not, we have our faults, we have our flaws. So, the first things first is step outside of your ego and just say, okay, this is the truth. I can't do this without you. I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm talking about. You tell me, Lord. Take this from me or show me what to do or whatever. And a lot of people say, well, I am doing that. And then they have plan B. Okay, if this doesn't work, that plan B will get us every time. Because if you are walking in plan B, like you're, okay, I'll pray about this and I'm going to believe God, but just in case I'm going to do this, or just in case I'm going to, I'll just use an example of a bill because it's easy to explain that way. So, say you want to make an arrangement with a bill collector that you have and you want to give them half of whatever it is. You pray about it, and that's what you get is, pay half and I'll take care of the rest or whatever. Don't worry about it. And so you say, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm trusting God. That's what I heard in prayer. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, but if they won't accept that, then I'm going to say this and this and this. Or maybe I can get up enough so that I'll pay out it all. You're not really trusting what he said. Do you see what I'm saying? He reminded me of a story in the Bible where the Jews were fleeing from Egypt. It's right. It's the Exodus of the Jews. And it's a long story. Read it sometime if you want. It is a good story, but it's just him reminding us to trust him, and how these people are traveling in the desert. It's not like they have any food or anything. They just kind of fled in the middle of the night. So he feeds them each day. And for those people who were uncertain that they would have enough and take more for the next day's supply, actually, if you take too much, by morning, it's rotted and rancid and has maggots in it. So the whole point of that is, if he says, I'll give it to you every day, believe him. And not just for food, for anything, okay? And he does say that. So that's one thing. Step outside of your ego. Next thing, I'm like, how do I take my power back, God? Show me, because I feel defeated. My soul wounds are up here. I feel defeated. How do I take my power back? Okay, so how do I take my power back? Number one is step outside of your ego and trust him. Number two is open your eyes and be aware. We've talked about this before. I want you to literally be aware. Be aware of what's running through your mind. Be aware of the words that you speak. Be aware of your actions. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of others around you and what's going on. And I don't mean like, pay attention closely to the news. I mean the people that you interact with, the people that you talk to. Are they hurting? Even if they have a smile, are their eyes sad? If somebody comes to you and starts talking to you, don't be so wrapped up in yourself. Actually listen to them, You may think you're doing that already, but if you make it a point to do that, you may find that you're not. Maybe you are, but you may find that you're not. So step outside of your ego and trust him. Number two is be aware. Open your eyes. Pay attention to what's going around you. Really absorb it. Number three, detach from this world. Remember that this world is not the end all. When things seem bleak here, there is another world that is much more important, where we are actually citizens of. We might have a dual citizenship, but this is not the place where we want to be. We can love it. We can be okay here. We can enjoy the beauty of it, but don't get wrapped up in the world system. Okay? I mean, God created the world. He wants us to, enjoy what he made, enjoy the beauty of it. But when he says the world, what he means is the world system, the world's way of thinking. So, and the more you become aware, the more you pay attention, the more you're going to see that you want to detach from it. Because you're raising your vibration, you're praying all the time, you're not going to want to be a part of this world. And I guarantee you that most of the people watching this video don't feel a part of this world anyway. It can feel very lonely, it can feel very sad, but we're not a part of this world. So we're going to let go of our ego and trust him. So I guess that's 1 and 2. Let go of your ego and trust him. Number 2, pay attention to what's going on around you. Really be aware and open your eyes. And step back and be quiet long enough to be aware. Listening requires silence, um, and, capture those negative thoughts. Replace them with a positive. So step outside of your ego. Know that you can't control anything, really anything. Never mind just some things, anything. You have no control. I'm not saying to do nothing. I'm saying to realize you have no control. Number 2, like I said, is open your eyes and be aware. Or number 2 is trust him. Number 3 is open your eyes and be aware. Number 4, capture every negative thought. Number 5, step outside of yourself long enough to help somebody else. Always, even when you're feeling at your worst, I'm telling you, it's going to lift the burden a little bit from you. So even if your motives are selfish, to lift the burden, I'm telling you, it helps. Okay, so help another. And then what I want you to do is I want you to say, I think we get caught up in this negative and we feel powerless. And I don't know what your soul wounds are. I know mine are feelings of unworthiness, abandonment, and not being lovable. Like nobody loves me. Because nobody has, and I'm not going to say my kids don't love me and stuff, but it's a soul wound. Okay, so it's what you go through, what you deal with. Whether it's true or not, I mean, I know I'm worthy in my brain. I know I'm lovable to somebody in my brain. But these are soul wounds. These are what we believe. Okay, so what I want you to do is also be aware of your soul wounds. Are these feelings you've had all your life, and then things tend to happen in your life that make that statement true, that convince you that it's true? That's a soul wound. And what you're actually doing is calling these circumstances, these events, these happenings to yourself without realizing it when you get lost in your soul wound. So the last step is take your power back. You know what he showed me to teach me that one? Now, of course, to trust him, he showed me the manna, right? And how he took care of them every day and how he promises to do that for us. But then he brought me back into my own past, and he showed me in Paul, in, I don't remember what book it's in. I think it's in the book of Acts, actually, where Paul and Luke and Silas, Timothy are, I think they're in Philippi, and this, this slave girl that has demons in her, but these demons allow her to see the future, basically. And her masters are making a killing offer, but it's making her sick. It's giving her headaches. It's making her sick. And she's young. She's just a kid. So this girl, I guess, follows them around. I don't remember how long, but it's days on end, and she follows them around while they're walking through the city, and they're not from there, so they're strangers, and they get this girl following behind them saying, they are telling you the truth, the word of God, blah 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 blah, which is a good thing, right? But she's distracting, and she's pulling people from them. She's loud, she's noisy, she's not helping anybody, and like I said, it's kind of tormenting her at the same time. So finally, Paul has enough after I don't know how long she does this, days on end. And he finally just turns around and says, okay, be gone from her. I'm done with this. I've had enough. He's just like sick of it. And he just goes, all right, enough. And she can't do it anymore. He cast out because it's a demon that's giving it to her. And it brought me back to some memories of myself. Now, I'm not saying I'm Paul by any means, but I remember there was this woman and she was loud and obnoxious. And she just wouldn't stop. And I was trying to pray, trying to worship. And we were at church, actually. And this woman she was loud. She was obnoxious. And you could tell that it was phony, that it was like all for show. I was with a friend of mine, and I was getting very frustrated because I couldn't hear what was being said. I couldn't sing. it was, and she was standing right behind me. And like I said, it was all for show. It wasn't like she was just praising, because we can all praise the way we want. You'd have to be there to understand what I mean. But anyway, I looked at my friend, and my friend was very irritated as well. And I just said, "Oh, I've had enough." And she goes, "Uh-oh." And I don't know. I just, Lord, take care of this. I just got like sick of it. And she fell asleep. It was the funniest thing. But so the Lord brought me back to that. And I said, "Okay, Lord, I see what you're saying. Paul did that. I mean, I did it on a smaller scale. Um, what's the difference between me then and me now? Other than, I mean, I've grown, I pray more, I'm closer to you now than I was then. What's the difference? Why all this darkness?" And I'm allowing it. Now, granted, like I told you before, if you know me or you know my life story, there's always been something, but I mean, look at the stuff that other people in history have suffered. So I'm not anything special. It's just my lot. But I said, "What's the difference? How come immediately I could do that?" And you know what? I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to hurt her or anything, but I knew that she'd be silent some way or another. And he said, "Lori, the difference is you're allowing yourself to fall into the soul wounds. You're allowing yourself." Now, my faith is strong. Anybody that knows me knows that I absolutely believe in the Lord and the Lord Jesus Christ. And I believe that he can move mountains. I believe that he died for us. I believe that he can do anything. He is God. He's the creator. He can do anything. And, people say, "Well, how come stuff happens to you?" But the point is to watch how people react to, we all go through stuff in this life. Nobody's going to say, people like Joel Osteen or whatever say, "Hey, your best life now." That's BS, because we're all going to go through stuff until we're not here anymore, until we lose our physical bodies. Difference is how you feel inside, the peace that surpasses all understanding. That's the difference. And yeah, sometimes you'll get like these absolute miracles, but it's not guaranteed. So I was like, "Okay, God, what's the difference? Why could I so easily do that then?" And that's just one example. That's how I live my life. So what's the difference between that woman and this woman other than me being closer to you? I mean, it can't possibly be that I'm closer to you. That doesn't make sense. And he said, "No, Lori, back then you knew you could do it. What you didn't understand is that it was absolutely my power that was doing it, not yours," meaning his power, not mine. True. So my ego was still there, even though I didn't think it was. Because, I was I had my center. I was helping people. I was in the domestic violence realm. I was a CASA volunteer at that time. And I didn't think I was walking in ego, but I certainly was. The difference now is I don't walk in ego anymore. I know it's not me. So when I decided to let go of my ego, I gotta tell you, I had to stop the video there for a second. There was some kind of spiritual interference. It was as if my door just opened on its own. Anyway, when I let go of my ego, I don't know if I could say I really let go of it, because I handed all the control over to him, but then I took a back seat as if I couldn't do this stuff anymore. And what he showed me was, "Lori, yes, you can. You can be my ambassador." Okay? So it's him doing it, but it's through us. That's how you take your power back. Who do you work for? If you worked for, or if you were the ambassador, who do you represent? If you were the ambassador of the United States, you have the United States president and the whole government, the Congress and Senate, everything behind you, right? That's who you represent. So when you walk into a room, the United States is present, correct? If you are the ambassador, if you're representing your parents, your family, you take on the role of your family. So therefore you're going to behave in a different manner. But if your family has wealth and privilege, you walk in with that wealth and privilege. You will make your choices according to that wealth and privilege. Do you see what I'm saying? So here I am walking around in my soul wounds. And God's like, Lori. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, I had an epiphany. Thank you very much, Lord. The person who I represent, not only do I need to be on my best behavior representing him and make sure that I walk in integrity because it's his name that I represent, but I also have his power. I have his privilege, just like the rich family has the wealth and privilege behind them. I have much more than wealth. I have the creator of the universe. I have the power to heal. I have through him, I mean, not me personally. Without him, I'm nothing, but because I represent him, I can go, enough, be quiet, and it's done. That's why Paul was nobody. He wasn't a magician. He wasn't, somebody like with supernatural powers. He wasn't an angel. He was a human being, but he had the power of God behind him. Remember, if you are a believer, you have the power of God. Remember who you work for. Remember who you represent. Remember who you are. Remember who your family is, because you have been adopted into the family of God. Remember who your father is. That's who you represent. So you know what? Right now it's 3:30 in the morning. But when the sun comes up and I start that brand new day, I'm walking in my power again. I'm walking in that power, the power of Jesus Christ. Try these steps, okay? And I know this is a long video, and I apologize. I didn't mean to make it this long. But can you try this and tell me how life changes for you? Remember, you're going to get some poison darts thrown at you. But you're shielded by the faith. You have the helmet of salvation. That's why you get the evil thrown at you, because there's anger in the enemy's camp, okay? And those soul wounds, they can be healed. Like I said, they will surface, but they can be healed. So walk in truth, walk in faith, walk in belief, walk in forgiveness, walk in love, true love. Keep yourself in check, keep that notebook, and let's keep talking, all right? If you need help, or if you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say I came to believe and all of that, definitely write me a message or write me an email. I know that on YouTube, you can go to like somebody's home page and you can actually write a message. I know it's confusing to me, but you can also go to Google Plus Hangouts. I'm on that under Light Insights. On Facebook at Facebook.com/Graced by Him 1 or Facebook.com/Walking in Faith. That's my Faith Walk page and my Light Insights page. And I'm also on Patreon, but I haven't really figured out how to set that up yet. And what else am I on? I don't know. I can't think right now because it's 3:30 in the morning. But let's make it a better day, okay? I think it's like it's July 4th now. Happy Independence Day. Beginning of July, the energy just shifted again. Let's make this great, okay? We've got a little less than half the year left. Let's make this a good rest of the year. All right, guys, you take care. I'm praying for you guys. If you're already on my prayer list, you know I'm praying for you. If you need prayer, please let me know. I didn't meet my goal in June as far as raising money, and I've got 2 missing persons. I've got another family that's trying to get a hold of me. I got to connect with them this week about a missing persons case. Those I do not charge for. I have 2 families that are struggling with homelessness and trying to get back up. There is a court case going on right now, a court battle that, it's horrible as far as these kids, what they're dealing with. All this stuff is, I'm the people that I'm helping, I don't charge with. There's several negative spirit. One lady actually had physical marks Oh, there's stuff like that going on everywhere. The veil is getting thinner. The evil does seem stronger, but you know what? It can never, ever, ever be stronger than God. It just wants us to think that way. So keep the faith, okay? Walk in forgiveness, walk in love. Don't let the bitterness of what somebody else did to you bring you down, all right? Forgive them. God will help you. Walk in love, walk in belief, and remember who you work for. All right, guys, let's see how this goes. All right, I'll talk to you soon. See you in the next video.